Okay, so you were saying you're okay about me using this video on the internet for educational purposes or for profit or not for profit, it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so all right, see if I can do this in like 15 minutes,
Okay.
which I always challenge myself, but it usually takes more like 30 minutes. I'll send done both to it. Every time we do it, maybe there's a chance of it. Okay, so you've already seen an example of before, during, and after with Jade's program.
Yep.
And we talked in general about the most unusual, striking, core aspects of our program, which include that it starts from a perspective of not judging a particular attitude, which is not judging the child, not judging their autism, meaning not judging it to be a negative thing mainly, not judging their behavior, that's autistic behavior, and as a result of that, we also we don't judge their what we call isms, which is they go into their own world. As a result of that attitude, we then also have the technique, which is joining, which is when they go into their world. Let me silence my phone, or at least figure out what's going on. Okay, so we're just gonna not answer right now. Okay, so as a sort of a byproduct of that attitude, there comes the next thing, which is joining. So it actually makes sense that you would join when somebody goes into their own world. If you're not saying, this is really lousy, I hate this, we need to stop this, then what's left is like, well, it's okay, and the person really likes it, why would we do that? So pretty much joining and the attitude kind of are related to each other. And so we actually just also decided, as a result of a foundational philosophy, sometimes, I don't know who this is, just let it go to let's let it go to the machine. Okay, so our program has a philosophy underlying it that includes, among other things, that you can choose your beliefs, and the beliefs that you choose determine how you feel about everything. So how you're feeling right now is a result of beliefs, like you're probably feeling pretty safe because you're believing I'm a reasonably safe person, it's a reasonably safe environment. You probably wouldn't be sitting in that chair the same way if you were in like a dangerous environment and there's a guy walking by with a gun. It's like because you decide that means it's dangerous. Your heart might be beating harder, and you would be maybe making plans how to get out, or if you thought something was not feeling safe to you, for example. So we're always making some kind of decision about what's going on, and a lot of those things we have to make up. So, for example, if somebody just popped their head in and had a gun on them, you might all of a sudden say, oh my gosh, my beliefs about this job completely changed, right? Or something like that. And now I have to think about all these other beliefs. But a lot of times, like the same kind of thing happens in the playroom. People go in the playroom, they say, oh, this is like a really bad situation. This child can't get better. This child won't get better. Things that are really like make-believes, because we don't actually know if this child will get better until we actually try it and go all the way to the mat and do it for 5 years or something like that. Because if you say, well, I did it the first day and she get better, well, any child even that gets better doesn't do it in a day, So there are a lot of beliefs we can make up and change that will determine how we feel about her and make us much more constructive and productive for her and for any other autistic child we encounter. So our program has this philosophy that we can choose to be happy, which is there's a central book of the original founders, which is called like Happiness is a Choice. And this is why it's a choice, because your beliefs are a choice, and you can figure them out. Because that's unusual about our program too. And if you want to summarize what you're going to do today, it's basically we're going to apply the things that are the most core to the program, such as we're going to go in there with this particular attitude, which the founders, the Kaufmans, describe as loving, accepting, non-judgmental, and happy. So you're going to decide going in to be all those things. It's hard to say that in a nutshell. You can pick one version. You can decide to be happy all the way through. You can decide not to judge anything. Like no matter whenever you think in your head, oh, that's bad that she didn't look back when I looked at her. You can decide not to judge it. You can say, oh, I'm not going to judge that. I don't know if that's good or bad. I'm just not going to judge it. There are different ways you can anchor that, but you're just going to basically decide to enjoy it. A simple way to think of it is to really enjoy your time with her, not dependent on anything that happens. Like don't make that dependent on she plays with you a lot, she doesn't play with you a lot. Just feel like I'm going to enjoy her as she is. Okay, so that's the attitude. I should teach them. You do 4 things in the first way. So one is to choose to be happy with her and enjoy her. The second thing is enjoy. It's like 3 calls in one video. It's so funny. Okay, so my husband let me at least just tell him we're okay. Hey, I'm training somebody. Can I call you back? Yes. Oh, okay. I didn't know who that was. All right, thank you. Bye-bye. Okay. That was the unusual number. He was having trouble with spelling, so he left me a message with his work phone. I didn't know what phone it is. Let me let this turn. Okay, so you're going to have this particular attitude, and you're going to experiment with the belief for the time being that it's all true. It's all choice and everything, which some people come in here don't believe it. You just try it while you're here. So it's like wearing a uniform. You go to Pizza Hut, you put on a Pizza Hut uniform. You may not totally believe in Pizza Hut, but you wear the uniform, you here, and then you come in and decide to. In the Pizza Hut, they always wash their hands after they use the bathroom. You can go home and you can decide not to do that. The point is while you're here to do that. Okay. All right. So the second thing is you're going to join when she goes into her world, which you will identify as times that it looks like she's not. Number one, she's not looking at your eyes because you cannot look at somebody's eyes and be inattentive. Okay. Something about that is it's autistic kids. It's not like it's never happening when she is in her own world. That one thing, if she's ever looking at you, you just keep talking to her, she's with you. If she's not looking at you, you have to consider, is she talking to you, or is she talking in some way that's not present? Like if she was saying, she plays a lot of Pajama Sam, and she's saying something like, Pajama Sam, put on your mask, Pajama Sam, come here, Pajama Sam, give me your mask, and she's having this whole dialogue with herself in a way, and there's no Pajama Sam there, you're not Pajama Sam, you don't have a mask, there's nothing relative to what's going on. She's probably in her world repeating dialogue, which in this case she'll join. I'll show you a quick video about what different types of isms can look like, but one of them can be talk, and she does a lot of talk to herself. It's like, when I was growing up, there would be these people on the street in New York that would be talking to themselves. So if you walk down the street and you're like having a heated conversation with just this person, before they had cell phones. Yeah. But there's no cell phones. You're like, don't tell me that, don't tell me. And they're walking down the street and you go like, what are they doing? Like, there's nobody there, right? So it's like she's doing that, but like it's not like that. It's just this autism, okay? Yeah. So you would join in the conversation, or she's like walking around like this. You would start getting up. Why don't you go there? Just to have fun. Okay. Just like you do what she's doing. So, but at the moment you realize she's not like presently with you, whatever it is she's doing, and you do your safe version of it. Okay. So for times she's doing headstands, and you wouldn't want to do a headstand if it would really hurt you. It would hurt my neck. Hello, hello. I think it's my husband calling me. Hello? Can't hear from you. Hold on. Hello? Hello? That's strange. Probably should leave this on because I might have gone to my YouTube. Okay, so she's like doing this. So she might be talking. She might say W. And say, yeah, that's good talking because it is a W. You know that's present, right? She might say the shirt is red. Yeah, the shirt is red. And then she's just like, Pajama Sam, put on your mask, and she's just like not looking at you. That's the time that you would say Pajama, just say what I'm saying. Pajama Sam, put on your mask, put on your mask, put it on. Put it on. Yeah, there you go. And then like she might say something like, well, that's pretty much. She does sound, she does terms, like that verb is just normal conversation, but it's not to you. Okay. And then she'll, if she does like humming, that she's like, that's the reason. So what you do is, if she's looking away, you don't look at her. So you wait for her to look at you. So you just gotta keep joining me for a second. Okay. But you wouldn't look at me. So if she's looking away, you look away and you trust your peripheral vision. Get in a position where your peripheral vision is gonna see me. So let's say she's doing this. You see me doing that? Okay. She does this a lot. Hand flapping. Good sound. But she'll be like, it's got gray on the toes. So now she's back. So you're like, oh yeah, that's great. You see my toes, right? She's back, right? Okay. So think back and look at that. Okay, so that was number. You can go ahead and say Sam for something. So because we're just else with conditioning. Okay, so number 1 was the attitude. Number 2 was joining. Number 3 is positioning so you can tell and you can see each other. So you can tell what she's doing without having to look at her like this while she's trying to look away. And also, so she can see you. So I'll give you an example. So let's say I'm her, and I'm sitting here doing this, right? And I start turning. You're going to have to move over here, right? Otherwise, it's like you're not there. It's like you're not even in the room. And it cuts the amount of efficiency of you joining her in half. So it's like she can hear you but can't see you. So let's say if she usually goes into her world and comes out, like, she comes out faster when you join her. So, but if you are missing a big chunk of light, she can't see you, it takes longer. So you want to be able to, so she can see you peripherally and you can see her peripherally, And I'll give you an example. So what I should do people is do that thing like where you put your hands out to the side, and you can see at a certain point you can see peripherally without looking to like keep looking at me. You can see if you put out like two fingers, you can actually see two fingers and like maybe change the three and see the three, or do something you can tell exactly what it is. For me, it's about a 90. Meaning if I go out this far, I'm really guessing and I'm kind of like straining to see it. But about here, it's really comfortable. Is that comfortable? Because you're like a football player, so maybe you have more purple vision.
Yeah, this is about here.
Right. So you wouldn't want to stay right there. Keep your arms like that. So you would want to make sure, assume that she has around a 90, like maybe a little more. I would say we'll average yours a 90. So she now is going like this. You'd have to move to be over here, right? And then if now notice also if you do this, if you rotate this way, it's like a cone. Okay, because for example, you can see your hand up here, right? And you can kind of see your hand down here, right? Now she suddenly looks down and she's like doing stuff with the floor. All I'm seeing are like your feet, and literally I can only see up to your knees. So you have to then get in her cone of vision, which means you can get down on the ground. Yeah, go ahead and sit on the ground. And then like she's literally doing this. You have to be down on the ground. You might even have to go ahead and lie on your side, and then like she'll do stuff like on the mattress. You have a mattress in here, and she'll be like leaning like this on the mattress with her head down like this, looking at a book, like this. Okay, so right now if I'm her, I can see no higher than like your knees, so I can see your head. So you have to really, yeah, there you go. Okay. So you want to be right down there, and then what happens is that she's in her world, in your world, and together we're doing the world. So she'll like glance and stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. But if you're way up there, you can't tell. And if you're right there and you say, and she says, oh, it says Abid, and then that's right, and she's smiling, you know she's with you. And then if you say, hey, look, it says Abid, and she just is like this, mm-hmm. you know she's not with you. But if you're not down here, you can't tell if you weren't just missing it, because she didn't want to do this. Right. Hey, Abid! Okay, so that's the positioning. And the last thing is, wow, I'm going to say it for a second. Because we have the attitude, joining, positioning. I can't believe I'm like blanking out. I've been teaching this for like 2 years or something. It's like I'm kind of teaching about where I usually start with, when she's with you. Okay, so you start in a different order. Okay. When she's with you, you want to celebrate the interaction as much as possible. So I'll give you an example. So let's say she does this. She does this like, look at my hair. Somebody who hasn't been trained by you might say, oh, that's really beautiful hair, and stop there. You can say, oh, that's beautiful hair, but you want to always think about, okay, what was interactive about that? Oh, she showed me her hair. So you say, oh, that's great. Thank you for showing me your hair, pointing out how nice it looks. Or thank you for fixing that for me to see, because it's sort of interactive versus like good hair. Because if you say, hey, great hair, then like how does it help her be motivated to be interactive? It doesn't really. And part of it is to keep cheering, like they do at your games. Like they keep saying, throw the ball, run fast, whatever it is. Like the cheering helps you do more of the thing that people really want. In this case, we want interaction. So whenever she does something, let's say she even does, I'll give you an example. So you're, take this pencil, right? So you're using the pencil, and she just like reaches over and takes the pencil. Okay, so she didn't really ask you. It wasn't like she was like, oh, please get that. She just took the pencil. Yeah. There's still something interactive about that because she took your pencil. It's like the thing with Bryn in the video where she took an interest in Bryn's pencil and took it. So other people might say, oh, like that's rude because you didn't ask. And we'll be like, oh, you took our pencil, that's good. It's literally anything interactive is good. So let's say she leans over and she says, oh, there's a scar. You go, oh yeah, and try to really get into the interaction and draw it out. This is going to be, we're going to add more to, this is the part that's going to grow the most. Of all the 4 things I said, what you do when she interacts is going to grow like exponentially, because you're going to first start by really focusing on celebrating the interaction. Like, I love that you looked at me. That was a great look. What a great question. I really want to know that too. Whatever, just focus on the things that feel like they're interactive, but later we'll add variety so that she doesn't keep repeating. So there's also variety components. You go in there and go, well, where's the role of me coming up with a fun game, or me suggesting, hey, why don't we look at the motorcycles? That's sort of adding something, right? But we call that, it's like adding variety. It's not as important as the celebrating initially, because the celebrating the interaction keeps you in a good attitude. We talked about everyone's attitude. If you come in here and I'm like, oh, that is a great shirt, and then which by itself is a kind of cheery thing, I would probably immediately say, like, thank you for coming, I'm so glad you came. Although make sure she doesn't fall asleep. It looked like it got dark all of a sudden. Find things to celebrate about the interaction. So I would say, like, good looking a lot. I do that a lot. Think of all the verbs that have to be done with another person. Like, if she says, look, showing you that. And showing is you have to have another person to show. If like you drop your pencil and she like picks it up and goes, oh, thank you for helping with that. Because help is it's a transitive verb, so the color. There has to be another person involved. You'll get better at them. The most important two though are looking and some form of talking. And you can vary it. It's like everything she does. That was a great story. Oh, that's really good. I love that you told me your favorite ice cream. Okay, so let's go over the name. So, well, keep going with the four again. The four things again.
Okay, the first one is as.
Yes.
Correct?
Okay, yes.
Second one would be going into the word, you say?
Yes. This would be cultural. Go ahead.
Okay. And the third one is
Yes, yes. Because I call it being in someone's mutual peripheral vision, meaning you're in mine and I'm in yours. Okay, yeah. Yeah.
And the last one would be, you just went over it.
Think of parts of it. What parts would you like?
Basically, just like when she interacts with you, like taking advantage of those kinds of interactions and try to make it as long as possible.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Actually, we call it celebrating actually helps extend it. So I would actually say maybe we put that under the general term like extend as much as possible, which means if she says, "Hey, that says Wisconsin," you say something about, "Yeah, it does." And you said, "They gave me this at whatever when I first went to college," or my mom gave me this, and I like it so much that I've watched it so many times. Look, the letters are coming off, or whatever. So something you add something where if she says, "Hey, look, it says Wisconsin," you go, "Uh-huh." That's sort of a conversation ender. You know what I'm saying? And there are a lot of people that they come in here and that they don't know how to have a nice conversation. And there are other things. There's also actions. It's not all just about conversation. So if she does this, like if she's going like this, like you could say, I'm trying to think how maybe an example is more interactive. Like if there's something like, let's say she picks this up and she's doing this. Okay, this is like a mouse pad, right? You could be like, "Oh, cool, why don't I be like a basketball and you throw it in my arms?" Because you have big arms. So why don't you do that for a second? That's adding something. Oh, look, yay, good throwing them. Now let's do it from farther away. So now we're adding things, but it's not just all verbal. Okay, so I think that pretty much gets that's the summary. Oh, that's pretty good. It's like 20 minutes. 17 minutes! It's a record!
Perfect.
I think I covered it pretty well, too.
That's awesome.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stop it. I hope the mic was good.